Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Rena'S Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Rena'S Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena'S great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Rena'S in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Rena'S Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Rena'S Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Rena'S Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Rena'S Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Rena'S Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Rena'S Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Hevrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Hevrek 35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't worry. I think we're mostly done with him. Now all we have to do is rest up and wait. Once the Fall Knights is good to go again, we'll be taking off for Rena right away. Is the Rena'S Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renins really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renin people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renins even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renins for who they were. I hated them just for being Renin. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renins not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renins who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renins are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renins and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena'S inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Hevrick 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena'S Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Rena'S Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Rena'S Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renins and Dahnans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Phasal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena'S atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dana.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dana is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renin life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
I won't let Dana suffer the same fate, ever.
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renin graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something. So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Rena'S Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength, it's that it's sentient too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Rena'S Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up. Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that different?
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes turn out to be merely skin deep.
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renin rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Danins started pressing their own.
Renins, Danins, Astral art users, mages. The world is full of labels used to divide and separate people.
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical talent or being good with their hands. Not differences so much as characteristics.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with time, people will follow. And then, perhaps one day...
There will no longer be any need for the example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in. We can set the example. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used to help people. Where that's the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else? We can show them ourselves.
I think Hootle senses something.
What do you say we check back in on the...
Hey! Hey, I just realized something!
Is this about dinner last night? I didn't realize those ingredients were off.
What? No! I mean, wait, you fed us rotten food?
Rinwell, the point.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've seen. There are regular Renins inside them, right?
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least, I think that's the idea.
Right. So it kind of begs the question then, why are they made so huge?
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of space.
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now. And?
Connect the dots, Law!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renins to work alongside the Helganquil?
Huh. But if that's true, what would that mean?
It would mean... just that, I guess. But still, don't you think it's kind of interesting?
Not hugely. Hey, Kisara, while I've got you, what's on tonight's menu? Because I was thinking, maybe meat?
Get him, Hootle.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hootle!
Ow! Seriously, what the hell? You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zoogles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renins have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dana, let alone up in Lenegis.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't their fault.
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Renins. We altered the original creatures to suit our own ends.
First, people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst, huh?
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them one day.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to do?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renins are able to keep them somewhat under control.
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they pose.
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zeugles aren't so different after all.
What a splendid view. Let's see what you've got.
By the power of flame!
Spirits within
Sleep now!
awaken and
Explosion! More where that came from!
Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
Hoo-hoo-hoo! Hoo-hoo-hoo!
There's history in the air here. I can smell it.
I don't smell anything.
Don't encourage him.
This'll make us even more formidable.
Hey, Alvin, what do you think to that chick over there?
Doesn't look like she really works out.
I'm not talking about her muscles, you dummy!
Do you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
There's history in the air here. I can smell it.
I don't smell anything.
Don't encourage him. Hey, Rinwell, tell me about your parents. What were they like?
They were kind. That's the part I like to remember. They could also be strict, though, especially when it came to magic. I never understood why I had to work so hard to learn magic. Why we couldn't just be done with it and live openly like everyone else. Needless to say, that didn't go over well. Of course, if I'd had known that one day I'd be doing this, I would have taken my studies more seriously. What about your parents?
Same deal. Run through the mill. Told constantly that training was the only way to survive in a world like this. It got bad enough that I ended up running away and siding with the Renins of all people. And now, I've got that training to thank for being alive.
I know how that feels.
The first time we met, you risked using your magic to stop me from kicking my dad's ass. You could have done anything else. You could have ignored it. So, why?
Yeah, I guess something about Zephyr reminded me of my own father.
You don't say. So, did your pops and mine look a lot like each other?
Not really. Not at all, in fact. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt a resemblance, I guess.
Wow. Well, I won't pretend I understand, but I'm glad. Your dad must have been a great guy.
He was.
Maybe it's the snow soaking up all the sound, but something about Cislodia always feels mysterious to me. Solemn, almost.
When it comes to solemnity, I'd say our own Octalina Palace is no slouch.
I won't argue with you there. Still, that azure tint of the shadows on the silvery white snow, it has a certain indescribable quality.
Indeed. It was boorish of me to even suggest such a comparison.
All I know is it's freaking cold. Still, more pleasant now that the locals aren't quite as frosty towards us.
Well, excuse me if I'm too frosty for your warm self.
Oh, come on! You know I didn't mean you. Besides, really, I'm the one who...
How about we stop getting hung up on the past for a change? Take what you've learned and put it to use in the future instead.
An unexamined past can be just as dangerous in its own right.
Better that than obsessing over it like a certain someone I know.
Kisara doesn't mince her words, does she?
I could say the same thing about one or two of the other women around here.
Tell me about it.
I think I'll refrain from commenting on this one.
Hoodle, I've got some dried fish for you. You want some?
Forget that. Doesn't some tasty red meat sound better, boy?
Hey! Stop trying to coax him away with treats. Get your own adorable sidekick if you're so desperate for one.
He appears to enjoy being the center of attention.
Funny how things change. He and Rinwell used to be joined at the hip, or shoulder to talon.
It's not just Hoodle who's become more trusting. Isn't that so, Rinwell?
They do say pets and their owners act alike. I suppose since we've been together, I've done my share of coming out of my own shell too.
Well then, I guess with you and Hoodle, that makes us all one big, happy family.
Sometimes when I'm deep in thought, Hoodle will come over and sit next to me. I only wish I could actually pet him.
Oh, you will someday. You won't believe how soft he is.
Wish I had that problem. I'm lucky if I can so much as look at old Featherbrain without him trying to claw me to ribbons.
Really? He seems tame enough around everyone else. Maybe it's just Hoodle's way of establishing dominance?
That's dogs, not owls.
What's going on when Hoodle pecks at you?
I don't know. Like when I'm talking to Rinwell, it's like he's trying to muscle me out or something. Unless... Wait, you don't suppose I make him jealous?
Come again?
Ow! Get off of me, you insecure fluff ball!
I rather think they make a good comedic pairing. That treasure. What a sweet-sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
Sure is good to be back in the pleasant climes of Menancia. Especially after the extremes of some of the other regions we visited.
Definitely. Your country is beautiful.
You do me an honor. However, this place was never mine to own.
I didn't mean it that way. Though, I guess technically you weren't born here either. Native or not, that doesn't change the feelings you had for the place. If I were you, I'd try to take a little pride in people's compliments.
Allow myself to feel pride, huh? That sounds like no easy task.
Nothing sounds easy when you overthink things the way you do. It must be exhausting.
He's always worrying about something. It's probably what gives him his eye for detail. That's just the way he is.
Yeah, so we'd noticed.
Let's change the subject, shall we? It's a wonder so many things coincided to bring us here. Alphen's awakening, Shion's decision to revolt, the Danon uprising in Calaglia, the Crown Contest's final, sputtering throws.
Zephyr's being in the right place at the right time, the fact that you happened to be a lord just as this was all going on.
It's almost as if we were brought together by design. By someone who wanted to bring down the system.
No, enough Hand of Destiny talk. We did this on our own steam. It's our responsibility to see it through.
Did Law just utter a pearl of wisdom?
I do think about things, you know. Just what do you take me for exactly?
Honestly, I always sort of pegged you as a likable dolt.
What the hell makes me a dolt, you dolt?
I mean, she did say he was a likable dolt, didn't she?
Let's refrain from poking this particular Zoogle any further. Some lessons just can't be taught.
Not to dolts, anyway.
Hey, Kisara. What's your secret for putting up with Dohalim? I don't know how you managed to deal with him.
Secret? Oh, I don't think it's as difficult as all that, really.
Could have had me fooled. Anyone who waxes lyrical on the aesthetic qualities of cactus thorns is a step too far for me.
And those poetic flourishes he sneaks into regular conversation? How am I supposed to react?
He likes the sound of his own voice, that's for sure. I say let him have his fun. No need to try and understand anything he says.
Has he always been like that?
He didn't seem as on edge all the time back in Menancia. Though he was my superior back then. So who's to say what I didn't see?
The Lord of Cislodia hid in plain sight while a crony posing as him carried out all his business. What if the Lord we met in Vicente was really...
An imposter? Dohalim? Hardly. Like it or not, that's him all right. In all his flamboyant, circumloquacious glory.
I'd like to see someone try to impersonate that on a daily basis.
Come to think of it, what with being a lord and all, he's probably never had anyone to speak to on an equal basis.
It wouldn't surprise me. Having you guys around, having a family in a way, must be what's helped him change.
A little heads up on some of his eccentricities would have been nice.
It's those eccentricities that make him who he is.
I think Hoodle senses something.
Hoo hoo. Hoo 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 hoo.
I see you've got your relics all lined up again. What are you doing? Huh? They're so bright now.
Oh, it's you two. I was merely tending to my collection.
Don't you think you've polished them enough by now?
You take better care of your relics than you do yourself.
I try to take good care of them. However, no matter how much work I put in, it refused to respond.
I thought you could hear their voices somehow.
I can, but that's all I can do with them. I can't actually engage in conversation with them. Not yet.
What are they saying? Did they really want you to polish them that much?
You're right. I was so enraptured with them, I may have selfishly failed to consider their own wishes. I must open my mind and sincerely engage with them in earnest.
He never gets tired of his relics, does he?
Nope. It is interesting to look at them when they're all lined up together like this, though. Like how these two have similar designs. It makes me wonder if they were made in the same period.
An excellent observation. Yes, I too suspect they're somehow intimately related as well.
I don't see what you two are talking about at all.
What's this? Why, that smear wasn't there previously. Could it be responding to my voice at long last? It's rather viscous and has a distinct aroma to it.
Ugh, Hoodle! These relics are no place for you to do your business! Whew! I'm serious! These are priceless pieces of history!
Come on, Dohalim. Let's go wash your hands before you catch anything weird.
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
The design of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like it, Alphen. senses something.
Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but... You sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew!
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion. How are you and Alphen getting on these days?
That's a little out of the blue. Why do you ask?
Sorry, it's just... I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. I mean, a lot's changed now he's got his senses back and all.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but... I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late, you know. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you, I'd take things as they come for now.
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Shion. But that doesn't stop you from knowing that I care about you, right?
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty clear you weren't my biggest fan.
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then. Not that that's the point.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renin and Danon are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters is blind obedience.
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that. There must have been something more.
Once, maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the... An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
What about you, Alphen? Bugs don't creep you out?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mind you, if times get desperate enough, I've been known to eat them.
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning are we talking?
Dohalim, I don't think he was talking about cooking them.
Hey, a lizard!
That treasure. What a sweet-sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
I never thought about this until now, Alphen, but doesn't it get hot wearing that armor all the time? You feel heat and cold again, don't you?
Admittedly, yeah. It can get pretty toasty in this thing.
Is it hard when your back starts to itch?
Oh, you bet. Plus, my shoulders get stiff wearing it, even if it's not all that heavy.
Kisara looks like she manages all right with her armor.
Armor takes a strong body and a stout heart.
Spoken like a true guardsman. Not that I really get what you mean.
The more I think about it, the more I realize what a pain it must be. Like, what do you do when you need to take a leak?
Ew!
That part can be a bit of a pain, yeah. More things to take off.
That sucks, man. Wouldn't it be easier if you just walked around outside of your armor most of the time instead?
You never know when the enemy might attack. As tempting as it might be to take it off, it's not worth getting killed over.
So basically, you're screwed if you ever get attacked while taking a dump. Right, Rinwell?
Are you doing this on purpose? Oh?
Right.
Okay, off we go.
Looks like we made it here in one piece.
Everything okay there, big guy? You look kinda pissed.
I'll say. He looks like he wants to bite the head off something.
What's eating at you? Come on, Alphen. You're gonna bring us all down if you keep that ferocious scowl on.
Oh, sorry. Do I really look that ticked off?
Yeah, it kinda makes you hard to talk to. So, what's bothering you?
It's a pebble.
A pebble?
Snuck its way into the back of my boot. I can't seem to get rid of it.
Oh, I totally get you. Weird how much it can get on your nerves, huh?
Yeah, it's barely bigger than a grain of sand. So how come it feels like I'm walking around on hot nails?
You know, maybe this is a crazy solution, but you could just take your boot off and give it a shake.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. You're right. Phew. It's like I've been given a new lease on life. Thanks for the tip, Shion.
Seemed kind of obvious, but you're welcome? That's the trouble with windy places. All that fine debris ends up getting into your hair and clothes.
Alphen, is it just me, or have you become extra sensitive ever since getting your sense of pain back?
Now that you mention it, the other night at camp, there was a fly buzzing around that annoyed him so much, he unsheathed the blazing sword.
So much for sensitive. That's just being a Mr. Cranky Pants.
Nothing new on that front, then.
What's the matter, Alphen? You look a little tense.
It's nothing, really.
He wants to get angry, but knows that doing so would only prove our point. Hence the building frustration showing plainly on his face.
Would you stop analyzing things for 1 minute?
Point taken.
I wonder what we'll find out there this time.
Most likely Zeugles, I would reckon.
I mean, other than them.
Isn't that Almadria's?
So this is where her ship drifted.
Then the one who wrote the letter is...
Alive, but badly wounded. I doubt many of the others have survived.
Let's survey the area.
Judging by the stench, I'd say the animals at the ranch. You're all grown now.
They smash with blackened blade!
Fire's a
I shall sear you where you stand!
We can turn the tables on.
Charge like
There are
that can
still
easily
more
be fatal.
left.
Right.
Just as
No
well,
time to
I'm
hold
here
back.
to stop.
Be still!
meteor storm! Sparkling stars of light! Rain down and pure!
I can carve through armor! Stalagmite!
You got company! Oh, sparkling stars of light! Oh, sparkling stars of light! Rain down and pure burning strike!
That's what I like to hear.
A fish! You saw it too, right?
It's you.
Lord Tohalim!
I figured I'd find you here, Kelzalik.
You knew he'd be here?
The handwriting on the note was all too familiar to me.
Did you come all the way out here to mock me, or have you changed your mind about putting me to death?
What if I had?
You have no right. You who abandoned your lordly duties and chose to fraternize with embeddeds of all people! And for what? How could someone as powerful as yourself turn your back upon the crown contest?
Not this again.
I ran from this once, but I must face it now. The crown contest was never for me. I apologize for dragging you along, but I do not regret my choice in the slightest. Listen to me, Kelzalik. People change. They can change given time, and regardless of their race. I know you're a capable man. You could do so much for others if you were so inclined.
Me? Impossible. It's too late for me. Death. Death closes in on me wherever I go.
What?
That's Almatrius.
Is she alive too?
It's death!
Has this thing become even more ruthless?
There's nothing more fearsome than a wounded beast.
Especially without its master.
Well, I'm not leaving it to its own devices.
Sharpness on!
Here I go.
Born to divine own destiny! Feel! Annihilation! By the power of reason! Blah blah blah! Magic! Hearts require complete focus!
Shattering of pieces! Attack time!
Glacial spear! Pierce evil! Stars far beyond the darkest skies! Far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee!
You may be strong, but I'll never back down.
Hold
nothing back!
Skies. I call upon
Ignite!
thee!
Denied!
Can't move!
I couldn't make it in
Far
time.
beyond the darkest
bring you
sky.
down.
Thanks. Far beyond the darkest sky.
bring you
I
back.
shall
Can't get out of
never
bed.
see. Resuscitation.
No dawn.
Shooting star. Far beyond the darkest sky. I call upon thee.
Lionheart!
Thanks, Shion.
Be careful not to overdo it.
I'm sorry. I'll do better.
I'll smash you!
Far beyond. Here, let me help.
Sonic thrust!
What would I do with a shooting star?
Rena'S flash!
Radiant pierce.
Flash!
Octane waterfall!
I can handle it.
Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Magic is air! Air thrust!
This is bad, right?
Yes, Alpin. Very bad.
I don't feel so good.
Can't move!
Don't give up.
Being interrupted.
Shooting star!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with life. Resuscitation! Ready and rare! Grant me the strength to march on! Lionheart! Demon Fang!
A whirling struggle.
Demon Fang!
That'll
Grant me
winds
the
of heaven.
strength to
First
march on!
force.
Lionheart!
Cyclone! Far beyond the darkest sky. I
Grant
call
me the
upon
strength
thee.
to march
Hold
on!
on to your arc. Here I come.
Now you see what I can do! Eternal devastation!
Denied.
Grant me the strength to march on!
Far beyond the darkest sky. I call upon thee.
Try this! Grant me the strength to march on!
A whirling struggle. Winds of heaven. First force. Cyclone. Not in your dreams. First aid. Cyclone. A whirling struggle. Magic is air.
Eat dirt!
Cyclone. A whirling blah blah blah. Cyclone. A whirling struggle.
Ready and rare!
Healing circle.
Sorry.
A whirling struggle. Take care of.
You pick!
Still got some fight left in me.
No! Let loose!
That's quite, unique.
The flame inside me yearns to be let
Cyclone! A whirling
Not
struggle.
today!
Winds of heaven. Far enough.
Swallow blade!
Cyclone! A whirling struggle. Winds of heaven. First. A whirling struggle. Winds of heaven. One's mine. North. Cyclone. Close one. A whirling struggle. Winds of heaven. First force.
Grant me the strength! Grant me the...
Forgive me. This is my fault.
Hold on to your arc. Here I come.
I'll face you!
Resuscitation.
Hitting
Motor corruption. Cyclone. Far beyond the darkest sky. I call upon thee. Alpin. Astral energy.
Say no more.
Here, let me help.
there!
Far beyond the darkest
Why'd you
sky.
heal me?
I call upon thee.
Right.
Ready to go.
Watch yourself!
Thanks.
Sense incredible power!
Breeze Lancer. Sorry. Just with the
It's on!
A whirling struggle. Far beyond the darkest sky. I call upon thee.
Ignite!
Shooting star. Far
Don't suffer in silence.
Shooting star! Far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee! Shooting star! Don't mind if I do!
Take this!
That'll bring you down! Magic is amp!
It's wide open!
It won't escape
Shooting
me!
star! Blah blah blah! Shooting star! I'm sorry. Far beyond the darkest skies, I call upon thee! What would I do without you? Shooting star! Far beyond the darkest skies, I call upon thee!
Thank you for the healing, Dohun.
Our comrades need our ability to survive.
Right. No one is dying on our
I
watch.
call upon thee! Shooting star!
This should do it! Demon Fang!
Far beyond the
Now you see what I can do!
Do not and shine! Got it! Now's our chance! Far beyond the dark magic is amp! Shooting star! Barb, you get the gist! Shooting star!
In a vine?
Barb, you get the gist! Hold on to your art! Here I come!
Benediction light.
Where are you going? Amazing! Not long to go now.
We couldn't have done it without you, Rena'S.
Thanks! Come on! Let's you and me get in there and finish this fight!
Radiant light! Force of regeneration! Regenerate!
Is that a healing art?
It is. I can't ignore your pain.
I'll try to be more careful.
Leave the charge
Watch yourself! I sense incredible power.
Shooting star! Dyer's attachment! Course in this flame! Sharpness! Far beyond the darkest sky! Right, one out! Far beyond the darkest skies!
Now you see what I can do!
Top field! This can't be happening! Shooting star! Far beyond the darkest... Far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee!
No rest for the wicked.
I can feel the movement with the earth! Far beyond the darkest skies! I call... Dyer's attachment! Course in this flame! Sharpness! Far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee! Hold on to your art! Here I come!
Shattering of pieces! Attack us!
Resurrection!
Here I
Sorry.
to do it!
Bring you back from death! This!
Rising Wyvern!
Resuscitation! There!
Sorry. I didn't want to put you out.
What are friends for if we can't depend on one another?
You're right. I'll bear that in mind.
Course in this close one! Dyer's attachment! Course in this flame! Sharpness!
Rising Wyvern! Strength to march on!
Far beyond the darkest skies! I call upon thee!
Demon Fang! Try this!
Shooting star! Far beyond the darkest skies! I'm ready!
Finish it!
Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
There!
Would you come with us? We can take you someplace safe.
To where? Where could I possibly be safe from that?
What are you talking about? We already took care of the monster.
No! Death is immortal by its very nature. Even now it haunts me. It hounds me. The silver death curses me incessantly with its many faces, many voices. Don't follow me. Leave me be. Leave me alone.
happened to him?
Whatever it is, it seems we have read the situation wrong.
He spoke of a silver death. Do you think he could be referring to the people back in Vicente that he hollowed?
He did so at Almadria's urging. I'm sure that somewhere deep down, he felt guilt and remorse for what he did. It was easy to blame it all on Almadria while she was alive. But now that she's gone, he has no one left but himself to blame for his own misdeeds. He's alone with his guilt on this island.
But it sounds like he lacked the mental fortitude to endure it.
Makes sense. Sounds like just desserts to me.
Almadria's monsters had nothing to do with it then.
So he was a Renin, yet he regretted his part in the Dahnan's persecution. And now he's beyond help.
Should we really just wash our hands of him, though?
To be honest, it seems like he's punished himself far more than any punishment we could hope to mete out. Dohalim.
If I hadn't met all of you, No, even after that. If I hadn't accompanied you on this journey, it's entirely possible that might have been me.
But you did. You're here with us now. And you didn't stumble upon redemption, Dohalim. This is the path you chose for yourself.
Yes, I suppose it is.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hootle?
I must keep striving.
You can ease off yourself.
Pot calls the kettle black.
Good advice for all of us, to be honest.
Oh-ho! Oh-ho-ho-ho-ho! Oh-ho!
I sense a strange power from this.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hootle?
It's like we've assembled every single owl in Dana.
You know, looking at them all, I think we very well may have. Talk about a spectacular sight.
Yeah. His Majesty and Her Majesty both seem pleased as well.
When she's all alone, her thoughts drift to sad places. I did all this so that she could have lots of friends and live happily ever after.
Hey, I get a little grumpy sometimes.
I'm interpreting for the owls, not talking about you.
Well, at least Hootle isn't alone anymore, right?
Right. Hey, Hootle?
Huh?
Hootle, I think you should stay. If you keep traveling with us, it's going to be constant fighting, and you'll be put in a lot more danger. But this is a safe place, filled with lots of friends for you. Plus, you can learn lots of new stuff with friends. Just like all the new things I've gotten to learn since I met Alphen and everyone else. All I could teach you was to jump from twig to twig. But now look at you. You're soaring to new heights. You can go wherever you want on your own now. So, stay here and be with your friends, okay?
Are you sure about this?
Hey, I didn't mean for you to.
It's okay. I made up my mind. We stuck with each other for as long as we did because we had no one else to depend on. Now, it's for the best we stay among our own kind. Take care of yourself, Hoodle. Hoodle? Hoodle, no! Your friends are that way! Why can't you understand?
I think he's trying to say, I don't abandon my friends.
Huh?
Oodle has his own wings. If he wanted to leave, he could have left whenever he wanted to.
He can come back to this place whenever he wants to. But right now, what he wants is to be with you.
It's true that his own kind is here, and he knows that. But he won't know if you'll always be around, Rinwell.
But, I mean...
I think he's asking you whether you really want him to go.
No! Of course I don't really want him to go! Hoodle's the only family I have left.
Then it's settled.
Hoodle has a place to go home to whenever he wants, and that'll never change things between you.
Are you sure about this, Hoodle?
Take care of our friend.
I pray your journey is a safe one.
Okay, enough already.
Thank you. Try to be nice to one another, Your Majesties.
Well, what's the answer?
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll both take care of each other.
I meant the owl's answer.
Let's go, Hoodle!